पदान्वितं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो शिवतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथामृतं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो श्रीपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यादि पाशादिस्ताने वाञ्छाकल्पद्रुवशाकृपासिन्धुवे स्वपतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरस्य नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोप्स गोपिकान्त सुते तत्काञ्चन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी विष्णुवाणी देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय परमात्मने वन्दे शुभनाथं जगन्नाथाय ते नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम So we had done 2.6 up to text number 38, and then now we'll read from text number 39 onwards. Just a minute. We'll go to vedabase.io and share with you. So last time we discussed how Brahmaji, he shares his own realization, how he would see things in connection with the Lord. And also, Brahmaji, he was giving the reason why Narad Muni should accept his words, because he has embraced the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart. And now, Brahmaji is going to summarize about Garbhodaksha Vishnu, the original creator. He will give information about him. So we'll read that today. Saes adya purusha kalpe kalpere sajati ajaha atmatmani atmanatmanam sa samyachati pati cha. Somebody will read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
Translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Srila Prabhupada. That supreme original personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, creates his manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and the manifestation are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again.
So this particular verse is the answer to the question, Yad Samstham. Yad Samstham is how is it conserved. So how is it conserved? So first thing is creation itself is the Supreme Lord. And also it is conserved by the Supreme Lord himself. So you'll find that in Bhagavatam, another example comes the example of a spider. Like a spider creates its own web, then it maintains itself on the web. So spider's web is designed in a way that spider doesn't get caught up in the web. Whereas all the small insects which come, they get stuck in the spider web. And in this way, they become the food for the spider. And later on, spider himself consumes the whole web. So I'm staying here in Gosala. So one of the devotees, outside one of the devotees' room, one spider would expertly come in the evening time, make the web, and by the morning time he would consume it. So one day, what devotee, he opened the window in the night time and he saw it. So similarly, Lord himself, he creates, maintains it, and consumes it. And as we were discussing, that he is the even the ingredients of the creation are non different from the Lord. So that's about Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And the qualities of Lord are explained in the next verses. So we'll go to 40-41. Visuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyak avasthitam satyam purnamanaadiyantam nirgunam nityamadvayam rise vidanti munaya prasante tatmid priyasaya yada tat eva sat tarkes tirodhiyete viplutam. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead, He is pure, being free from all contaminations of material tinges. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. He is all pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival. O Narada,
Mother, you are muted now.
Hare Krishna. O Narada, O great sage, the great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. Otherwise, by untenable arguments, all is distorted and the Lord disappears from our sight. Hare Krishna.
Hare. So this Lord is knowledge. Visuddha kevalam jnanam. Visuddham kevalam jnanam. So he's keval gyan. So in the verse number 38, Brahmaji said that I cannot fully understand him. So then Narada Muni gets a doubt in the mind that is it impersonal form that you don't know? He says no, it's the personal form also whom I don't know. So who is that Lord? That Lord is Jnanam. That Lord is full of bliss. Rather, his manifestation is made up of Suddha Sattva. Not the, that means it is beyond the Sattva of this world. Because generally in this world, the Jnana which we learn is a product of Sattva. Like we were discussing in the last class. Avidya comes from mode of passion and ignorance, and Vidya comes from mode of goodness. But the transcendental knowledge comes from Suddha Sattva. That's Paravidya. So this Lord is Visuddham Kevalam Jnana. So that particular Lord who is Suddha Sattva. And also Pratyak Samyak Avasthitam. So that Lord, he is not just free from sufferings, he is separate from everything else. That means he has an existence, individual existence. He is not the all-pervading Brahman. About him, Brahmaji was not able to see that he is a personality. Then Satyam. Satyam is always all-pervasive as impersonal feature, but he also has an excellent form, which is truth. And that Lord is he lesser than his impersonal Brahman? No, he is Purnam. That means Lord can have a separate existence, at the same time he can be complete in himself. One of the reasons, especially many of the religions, they are not able to understand that Lord has a form, because they think as soon as you give a form to the Lord, he is limited. But then our acharyas explain that if you say that if Lord has a form, he will not be complete, that means you are denying him to be God. God can have a form At the same time, he can be all pervasive also. So that's the meaning of Supreme Lord. So in this way, Lord is Purna, is complete. And these things are beyond logic. Entire cosmic manifestation is in the belly of Krishna. And yet Krishna is manifested in that cosmic manifestation. So the type of form of the Lord, or the Vishrup Darshan, which Yashoda Mother Yashoda saw inside the mouth of Krishna. So it proves that the entire creation is within the Lord. So in this way, he is all pervasive. At the same time, he also maintains a separate existence within that cosmic manifestation. That is something beyond. That's why one of the names of the Lord is Achintya. Achintya means someone who is beyond our strength of understanding. We can understand. Achintya. So in this way, Lord is Purnam. Anadi, Anantam. He is unlimited and he has no birth. Nirgunam. He is not mixed with material gunas. Nityam. Nityam means he is also present all the time, not just all the spaces there within him. He is beyond time also. He is present all the time. And Advaya means he can't be compared. He can't be compared with anything else. And in this way, now the question comes, so if he's so unlimited, how can we know him? So the contemplative sages know that form of the Lord after they have controlled their mind, senses, body. So when their minds are free from bad logic, they can understand. False logic, they can understand. Okay. So that's about the Lord. How to understand? Understand when you surrender and give up the false logic. That means one should give up the logic which is different from scriptures. So by keeping faith on the scriptures, one can understand the Lord. The Lord is beyond. Okay, fine. So this is the verse number 41. And Prabhupada quotes these verses. Yesam tu yantagatam papam jananam punkarma. Te danda mohan nirmukta bhajante mam niranvata. So those who are sinless, they take to pure devotion service. Only they can worship the Lord and then they can understand the Lord. It's only for devotees who can understand. Other people can understand. Now 42. Adyo avatara purusa parasya kala svabhava sadasanmanasya dravyam vikaro goda indriyani virat swarat sthansnu charishnu bhumnaha. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Karanarnavasyayi Vishnu is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause and effects. Mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So each of these words, now we can elaborate like anything on them, but we are limited by time. We are not like Lord. So I'll explain some of them. So Karnadakshayi Vishnu, the first incarnation, he is the master of eternal time. Eternal time is represented by Lord Shiva. And that's the glance of Karnadakshayi Vishnu. That's why he's called the master of eternal time. But ultimately his glance, which is Kal. So glance of Mahavishnu is Kal, Karma, Swabhava. Kal is Lord Shiva, who brings further creation. And then Karma and Swabhava is that of the living entities, who are supposed to get a subtle body and then a gross body. He is Lord of the space. Space in the sense that he is everywhere, all pervading. Also, he's the one who creates the space. Because universes were not that law, they're going to form. He's the Lord of cause and effects, as we had explained yesterday. Everything is pair of cause and effects. But Lord is the ultimate cause and is also the ultimate effect. Ultimate effect is the entire universe, and ultimate cause is Lord himself, Sarvakaran Karana. He's Lord of the mind, elements, material ego, modes, senses, universal form. All these things come from ultimately Karanadaksha Vishnu, which you read in chapter number 5 in the previous chapter. He's the Lord of all these things. And he's also the source of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and also sum total of all living entities, who's called Hiranyagarbha, both moving and non-moving. Samalangi Mataji, you had a question.
Prabhuji, just this simple, I wanted to ask this, Karana Vashai Vishnu and Karana Dakshai Vishnu are the same?
They're same.
The same. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So now 43 to 45. Okay. Ruparani Revati Mataji, you had a question?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, that was Pranam. In the 39th verse, Prabhu, you said, Prabhu, is Brahmaji is explaining about Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, right, Prabhuji? Yes. But here it is given expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu. Is it it is Karnataka Sai Vishnu, right, Prabhu? Mahavishnu means?
Mahavishnu, yes. Yes.
So he's explaining about,
Yeah, Karnadaksha Vishnu, yes.
So he's explaining about Mahavishnu,
Mahavishnu, Karnadaksha Vishnu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
It's our Karnadaksha Vishnu, correct. Thank you for correcting. Vandana Bandula Mataji.
Prabhuji, I just, the voice was not clear. I don't know, it gets interrupted in between. You said something, you said eternal time is represented by Lord Shiva. And then you said something, glance of Lord Vishnu is, you said something, I couldn't.
Shiva, is Lord Shiva.
Glance of Lord Vishnu is Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
That's one of the name of Lord Shiva is Mahakal. Mahakal means he's a great at times. In Ujjain, if you go, there is a whole big temple of Mahakal. Aham bhavo yagya ime prajesha daksha devye bhavat adayascha swarlokapala khagalokapala nirlokapala stalokapalaha gandharva vidyadhara charanesha ye yaksh raksho ragnaganatha ye varisinam risabhapitam datrendra siddheswara danavendraha अन्ने च ये प्रेत पिशाच भूता कूष्मांड यादो मृगपक्षधीशा यत किंच लोके भगवन् महस्वत् ओजा सहस्वत् बलवत् क्षमावत् श्री विभूति आत्मवत् अद्भुतार्णं तत्तं परं रूपवतस्य रूपम्. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. I myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha and Prajapati, yourselves, Narad and the Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of the Bhurlok planets, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leaders of the Gandharva planets, the leaders of the Vidyadhara planets, the leaders of the Charana Loka planets, the leaders of the Yakshas, Rakshas, and Uragas, the great sages, the great demons, the great atheists, and the great spacemen, as well as the dead bodies, evil spirits, Satans, jinn, Kushamandas, great aquatics, great beasts, and great birds, etc. In other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental and perceptual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in form or formless, may appear to be the specific truth and the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
They don't exhibit Lord's form in complete potency, or they're not the complete manifestation of Lord's complete potency. Somebody remembers a similar verse from Bhagavad Gita? Yes.
Can you
Is it
please? I just
Hare Krishna Prabhu? Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam?
Ah, yes, yes. You can quote the whole verse in the translation. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattam srimat ujidam eva. Mam tejo anti sambhava. So yad yad vibhuti mat sattam srimat ujitam eva tat tat eva vigachatam mat tejo anti sambhava. So mam tejo amsa sambhava. Just by the fragmental portion of my splendor or opulence, all these things are present. I manifest myself. So whatever beauty, strength, opulence, power, etc. we see in this world, anything which attracts us, we have to understand it is a fragmental portion of Lord's opulence. The same thing is spoken here also. So whether it's Charanas, Vidyadharas, some of them have different opulence. Like Gandharvas are known for singing and their beauty. Similarly, personalities like Indra are known for their power and their demeanor. So different personalities, similarly Brahma is known for his knowledge. So different personalities may have different features, but they just exhibit the fragment of Lord's opulence. So by seeing the fragment, we should remember the Supreme Lord. So that's the whole thing. And that was the purpose of the chapter number 9 in Bhagavad Gita. Opulence of the Absolute. No, sorry, not chapter number 9, chapter number 10. Chapter number 10. 46. Pradhanyato yan risa amananti लीलावतारान् पुरुषस्य भूम्नः आपीयतां कर्णकषाय शोषान् अनुक्रमस्य तैमां सुसुपेशान्.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnation of the Lord known as Leela Avataras. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matters accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to ear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare. So Brahmaji says, as far as Purusha Avataras are concerned, Purusha Avataras, Karnadaksha Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Shiradaksha Vishnu, their leelas are more with matter. It's more of creation, maintenance, and destruction. So pastimes of creation, maintenance, and destruction are Lord's leela with Maya Sakti. But Brahmaji says, no, I'll explain about Lord's leela with Chit Sakti, with the living entities. So Lord's dealing with personalities, with living entities, that's very beautiful. That's even more realizable. So personal dealings are more realizable than the dealings with the matter. So so Brahmaji says, now I'll explain about Leela Avataras. But they're also unlimited. I'll tell only prominent among them. Pradhanyataha. Pradhanyato yan risa amananti. So only those ones which are worshipped by the sages, the prime ones, I'll explain only about those Leela Avataras. And what is the effect? Apiyatam karna kasaya sosa. As soon as one hears about these Leela Avataras, one's desire to hear other topics is dried up. Sosan means dried up. So karna kasaya sosa. It will be totally evaporated. Explain them one by one in karma, in the order. And what you do, apiyata, you drink the experience or relish the nectar of these topics. So that's what he's going to explain now. So before that, what I'll do is I'll stop the share. So of course, we want to do focus more on Satasloki, but still what I'll do for maybe 5 minutes, we'll discuss about, because it is a Purusha Sukta confirmed. We can discuss about the similarities between Purusha Sukta prayers and these prayers. Just give me a minute, I will open that PPT, which I showed yesterday. So it's there in Bhagavad Subodhini also, but we'll just see the similarities. See the similarities between these prayers and the Purusha Sukta. These are the commonalities between Purusha Sukta prayers and Bhagavad verses. Krishna Chakravarti Thakur had written, but devotees from GV, Bodhani Kule, they have done a good work of like compiling them at one place. So the green ones are similar. Saha Sirsa Purusa Saha Saksha Saha Sapat Sa Bhumi Vishwato Vritva Atatishtada Sangulam. So Sahasra Sirsa Purusa, Lord who has thousands of heads. Sahas Aksha, thousands of eyes. Sahasrapat, thousands of feet. They're similar to 2.5.35. Sahasrop Angri Bahva Aksha Sahasranan Sirsavan. They're similar. And Sa Bhumi Vishwato Vritva Atatishta Sangulam. That means he's 10 fingers little taller than the, or 10 fingers beyond the universe. So whatever existing past, present, future. So they all are covered by the Lord. So this is similar to Sa eva Purusas Tasmat Andam Nirbhidya Nirgataha. So there it is not literally speaking 10 fingers, but he is little extra. So this is similar. The red part, and you can see the red part is similar, and the green one is similar. Now similarly, second verse also. Purusayevadagum sarvam yad bhutam yaccha bhavyam tamritva sesana yat annena tirohati. So these two verses are similar. Purusayevadagum sarvam yad bhutam yaccha bhavyam. Sarva purus evedam bhutam bhavyam bhavachayat. So this is almost similar, because even the Sanskrit is pretty similar. So these all things are given. Now we don't have time to take everything. And similarly, this Uta Amritam Tasesna Tad Anna Tirohati. So this is similar to So Amrita Bhaya say so Mattam Annam Tad Attagat. So Brahmana is Lord of spiritual bliss beyond material existence, because he surpasses material happiness. The power of the Supreme Lord is unlimited. The wise know the living being are situated within the portion designated by the Lord, whose feet protect all places. This Pado Asya Visubhuvatani, Tripad Asamitam Divi. This symbol. So there is a similarity between the verses. So devotees who have this Bhagavad Sodhini can see. So it's a very good part that they have done. So this directly proves that when Prabhupada is calling this chapter as Purusha Sukta confirmed, it's actually Purusha Sukta confirmed. And this proves that how Purusha Sukta actually refers to Lord Vishnu, not to Lord Shiva. We don't have much time to discuss about, because today we have to take a Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. Now we'll enter in the next section. Just a minute now. Let's get in. Okay, this particular. So Brahma Narada Samvad. We'll just go to the next chapter. Because Brahmaji is going to speak out Leela avatars. Scheduled incarnation with specific functions. Brahmavacha yatrodhatachit taludharana yatrodhatachit taludharanay bhiprat prodham tanu sakala yagya mai manantaha antarmahanam upagatamati daityam tam tanshayadrim ivi vajradharo dadat. Just read the translation and then we'll take the question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon, Hiranyaksha, appeared and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
So is it that my internet is little problematic, or I was?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. From your side, it is getting stuck sometimes.
Okay. So just a minute. Now what I'll do, I'll change to another network. So just give me a minute. Kamalangi Mataji, you had a question?
Yes, Prabhuji, I just thought before we move on to the next chapter, I remember you told us that the 34th verse is a very important verse of chapter 6. And there is a question on that in our close book. What is the import of Hridayot Kanthe Avata? So, Prabhu, I didn't really understand that question. I mean, if we can just discuss a little about that question answer of this particular verse.
Okay.
34 and 35, and what is the import of, like, this is our eagerness, right? Our earnestness. I didn't really get how do we.
See, one thing is, if it is given in your
close book,
then it is 100% is going to be from the purport.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
So that's very clear.
What does the question mean? Like, what is the import? Means what are we taking?
Yeah, import means in the sense that what is the importance? What is the importance of, because Brahmaji is saying I can't fall down because I have earnestly taken the shelter of the Supreme Lord. So you can see here, anyone beginning from Brahmaji down to the human being is at once put on the path of liberation simply by his attachment and great eagerness for the Supreme Lord. So that means as soon as one develops attachment for the Lord, one cannot fall down. So we naturally have a tendency to become attached. So that desire to become attached with something is there. Like what to say for other people also, even those who are in renounced order, like brahmacharis, and what to say brahmacharis, even sannyasis, they also have some sort of attachment. Attachment in the sense that one of the greatest problem faced by the old brahmacharis or sannyasis who are not like so advanced that they directly have access to the Lord is the loneliness or emotional unfulfillment. Because you need someone to identify with and you need some sort of attachment even on a subtle body platform. So if we have that attachment for the Lord, then what can happen is, then one can be in the path of liberation. So bhakti is not the path of detachment, bhakti is the path of attachment. So this simple thing is explained.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Prasanga madaram pasam atmana kavyogudu sayev sadhu sukrito moksha dharma aparta. So attachment to the matter is cause of entanglement, and attachment to the devotees of the Lord is the door, or it opens the door to liberation. Okay. Now we'll go to second one. So first incarnation is incarnation of Varaha, which was explained. So Lord who lifted the earth, killed Hiranyaks, pierced Hiranyaks, and kept the earth back to in its orbit. Jato ruchir ajanayat, jato ruchir ajanayat, suyaman suyagya, akoti susnut amaran ad-dakshinayam, loktrayasya mahatim aharajyadartim, swayam bhuvena manuna hariti anuktaha.
The Prajapati first begot Suyagna in the womb of his wife Akuti, and then Suyagna begot demigods, headed by Suyama in the womb of his wife Dakshina. Suyagna, as the Indradev, diminished very great miseries in the three planetary systems, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because he so diminished the miseries of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, namely Swayambhuva Manu.
Yeah. So Swayambhuva Manu's daughter Akuti, she was married to Rishi Ruchi, and as a result of that, he got a Swayambhuva Manu's grandson became Suyagya or Yagya. Sometimes it's called Suyagya, sometimes it's called Yagya, and he was adopted later on as his own son by Swayambhuva Manu. So he became the first Indra. He is the one who protects Swayambhuva Manu from being eaten by the Rakshasas, who got a boon from Lord Shiva that they can never be defeated or killed. But still Lord killed them. And the prayers were offered by Swayambhuva Manu, which are there in Ishopanishad. Ishopanishads are the prayers of Swayambhuva Manu to Lord Yagya. So this is the same Lord Yagya who protected Swayambhuva Manu, who became first Indra, and he removed the miseries of the three planetary systems. So this was second incarnation. The next incarnation is mentioned. Chagge chakardam grahe dvichdutyam Sri Vir Samam Navabhir Atmagatim Samatre Uche Yat Samalam Guna Sanga Pankam Asmin Viduya Kapilasya Gatim Prapede. This is the translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Lord then appeared as the Kapila incarnation, being the son of the Prajapati, Brahmana, Kardama and his wife Devahuti, along with 9 other women sisters. He spoke to his mother about self-realization, by which, in that very lifetime, she became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes and thereby achieved liberation, the path of Kapila. This is Sankhya philosophy, correct, Prabhu?
Yes, Sankhya philosophy. So we can fully cleanse of the mud of the material and thereby actually lose in the path of Kapila. So that's Sankhya philosophy. And basically this is a Sankhya philosophy which is a mixture of Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is literally Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and also Bhakti Yoga. So all 3 of them are explained by Lord Kapila. So he doesn't end with Sankhya. He begins with Sankhya, talks about Ashtanga Yoga, and then later on he takes a person to Bhakti Yoga. So that is how this particular Sankhya is different from the one which is given by Atishti Kapila, who speaks out Sankhya alone. So those, the Atishti Kapila, he denies the activity to the soul and the super soul. He said they are observers, but they don't have free will. Free will in the sense they can't act freely. This is our Lord Kapila. Now, next incarnation is Atreya. And the Atreya means there's Dattatreya. Atreya apatam abhikansat ahatushto datto mayayam iti yat bhagavan sa dattaha yat pada pankaja paraga pavitra deha yoga riddhim apur uriyem yadu hayadeha. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mata, you spoke. I think you're muted again.
The
You
great
unmute
sage
yourself.
Atri, I thought somebody else was reading, so I stopped.
Okay.
The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son, Dattatreya, Datta, the son of Atri. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Haihayas, etc., became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah. So Lord appeared as Dattatreya, the son of Atri. So we have so Atri prays for the Supreme Lord, and Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all 3 appear. They say we are the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada writes that Atri was not qualified enough to know who is the Supreme Lord. Then all 3 appear as their son of Atri and Ansuya. So Vishnu comes as Dattatreya, Shiva comes as Durvasa Muni, and Brahma comes as Chandra, moon god. So that is how all 3 of them appear. And then later on, Dattatreya, he is the same Avadut Brahmana, which will come in the further cantos of Bhagavatam. The Avadut Brahmana who comes in front of Yadu. And he also gave material boons to Kartavir Arjun, the king of Hayahayas. So that is how he gives material boons to Kartavir Arjun, but Kartavir Arjun misuses it, and finally he is finished off by Parasura. And whereas he enlightens Yadu with the transcendental knowledge. So he gives both material blessings to Kartavir Arjun and special blessings to Yadu. So there is Amrit Padma Mata.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Here, Hayas, that is a king of Kartavirya Arjuna, and he is also Yadu's non-Vivas, Prabhu. Then why they are calling it?
No, they are not Yadus. Kartavir Arjun.
Oh.
Kartavir, I don't think so. Kartavir Arjun comes, he doesn't come in the Yadu dynasty. He may be before that. See, he may be in that, this is lineage after Yadu, are called the Yadavas. And Yadavas never became emperor. They could become a king, but they never became emperor because they were cursed by Yayati not to become an emperor. So only the Pauravas, the descendants of Purus, they became the emperors. So as far as my understanding comes higher, they then won't come in the category of called Yadavas. So we have to look into the linear chart.
Okay.
Are you asking after seeing the linear chart? At least my logic said it is not supposed to come. Okay. So he may be before that more possible, but not after that. So we have to see in the linear chart.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can you just repeat Vishnu comes in which form to show to Atri Prabhu? Shiva as Durvasa Muni and Brahma as Chandra. Vishnu as
Dattatreya. The same incarnation which we are reading about in this translation case.
Okay.
There are many people in Maharashtra. There are many people in Maharashtra who worship Dattatreya.
Yes,
Maharashtra. Now
we have a chain of superstores here who is also a very good sponsor of our yatra. The owner's name is Dattatreya and he is a Maharashtra. His wife is a nice devotee. He's a good sponsor there.
Okay. Amazing. I never heard somebody's name Dattatreya. I'm hearing for first time.
He's a good devotee, good sponsor since 20-25 years old now. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you for telling that there's somebody called Dattatreya. And we don't think ISKCON name someone as Dattatreya Das. Because the philosophy of Dattatreya is not like the one which is so much accepted by us. So that's why. Anyway,
he's not a devotee, initiated to ISKCON, etc. He's just a supporter and well-wisher like that.
No problem. He'll become a devotee because he's in contact with you.
Your yatra is good. Thank you.
Okay. Taptam tapo vivid lokes sirchayame adau sanat swatapasa sachatu sano bhut prakalpa samplava vinastam ihatma tattam samyak jagatamunayo yad achaksitatman. Read translation.
To create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities and penance, and the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated in 4 Sanas: Sanaka, Sanatkumara, Sanananda, and Sanatana. In the previous creation, the spiritual truth was devastated, but the 4 Sanas explained it so nicely that the truth once became clearly perceived by the sages.
So, these 4 sages are the incarnation of Jnana Shakti of the Lord. They're empowered incarnations. So they're not literally the Vishnu Tattvas, but empowered incarnations. 4 Sanas, 4 Kumaras. So they are the next incarnation. Dharmasya dakchiduhitari ajanishta murtyam narayano nariti swatapa prabhavaha Dasvatmano bhagavato nemavalopam bevastut angri pratana katitum nase kuhu. Please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat pranams to all. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in twin forms of Narayana and Nara in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma and the daughter of Daksha. Celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for they saw that many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So he appeared as son of Murti and Dharma, which is explained here. Then they came to establish how the austerities and penances should be performed. So they remained as brahmachari, and Mother Lakshmi she had no way to serve him because he became as a brahmachari. So she appears as a Badri tree. Badri tree in just on the top of the head of Lord Narayan in Badrikashram, so that she can serve Lord by avoiding him to be touched by snow, rains, etc. So that's why it's called Badrinath. And also, the pastime which is mentioned here is that Indra, as usual, became very fearful by seeing the austerities of Narayana and Rishi. He sent a lot of apsaras, but rather than becoming influenced by these apsaras, they start producing such apsaras that Kamdev himself became bewildered. And then later on, Lord said that you can choose one among them and give to Indra. And that is how Urvasi came. So Urvasi, Uru means the thigh. So they appeared from the thigh of Lord Narayan. She appeared from the thigh of Lord Narayan. So that's why she is considered the most beautiful among all the apsaras. Urvasi. So this Pashtanat. Kamam dahanti kriteno nanurosa drishtya rosam dahanta utate nadadhanti asahyam yoyam soyam yad antaramalam pravisan bibheti kama katham nu punarasya manasrayeta. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind?
Yeah, this is again about Narayana and Rishi only. That Lord Shiva controlled lust when Cupid was shooting arrows on him, but then lust turned into anger. And Lord Shiva now was not able to control the anger, and he burned Kamdev into nothing. Not even the ashes were found. That's why one of the name of Kamdev is Ananga. Ananga means who has no form. So he couldn't control the anger. But even such an anger doesn't have any effect on Lord. What to say of lust having effect on him? So Shiva could control lust but not anger. But Lord can control even anger. What to say of lust? What is the proof that Lord has control even over anger? Which pastime? Quickly.
Bhrigumuni pastime.
Yeah, Bhrigumuni pastime. So Bhrigumuni kicked on the chest of Lord Narayan. And what did he say? My heart is so hard that your feet must be pained because of touching my heart. And he started massaging the feet of Bhrigumuni. So Brahmaji couldn't control anger, Shiva couldn't control anger, but Lord could control. Now, next incarnation. This is about Prishni Garva who appeared in front of Dhruv Maharaj. Vidya sapeti udite prati patribhir antiragyo balo pisan upagatas tapasevanani tasama adad dhruvagatim granite prasanno divyastvanti muneyo yat upari adhastat. This is the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king, even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took to severe penances in the forest, and the Lord, being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruva planet, which is worshipped by great sages both upward and downward. Hare Krishna.
So Dhruv Maharaj he did severe penances, and Lord appeared as Prishni Garva in front of him. With another question.
Prabhu, see here I cannot understand. This Prishni Garbha is who, Prabhu? The Lord's appearance or Dhruva Maharaj?
No, Prishni Garva is the form of the Lord who appeared in front of Dhruva Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So it's not just Vishnu. Sometimes people say Vishnu. No. Vishnu is the one who generally deals with matter. Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Karnodaksha Vishnu, Sirodaksha Vishnu. They all deal with matter. The ones who deal with people, bhaktas, generally are the Narayan. Prishni Garba is one of them. Prishni Garba means son of Mother Prishni. Prishni and Sutapa. Their son is Prishni. Okay, there was some hand raise, but not now.
Yeah, Prabhuji, could you please repeat that? Why is he known as Prishni Garbha? I didn't get the answer. You just spoke something.
Okay.
He's known as Prishni.
So Prishni Garbha means one who appeared from Garbha or the womb of Mother Prishni. So his mother's name is Prishni, father's name is Sutapa. So their son is Prishni Garbha. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Now next incarnation is Prithu Maharaj. Yadvenam utpatgatam dudevaka vajra nisplushta paurus bhagam nirye patantam tratva hito jagati putra padam chalebhe dugdha vasuni vasudha sakalani yena. Please read translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, please continue.
Maharaja Veena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this king, Veena was burnt with his good deeds and opulences and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son, by the name of Prithu, delivered the condemned King Veena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce.
So Veena, he was cursed by the Brahmanas to die, and by churning the body of Veena, Archi and Prithu came out. And then Prithu Maharaj, he ruled the entire planet from the capital called Prithudak. Even if today, if you go to Kurukshetra, there's a place called Pihova. Anciently, it was called Prithudak, the place from where Saraswati even today flows. So still there's a place from where Saraswati flows, and it is little underground, but they have dug the whole thing to get the water of Saraswati. So I went and at least I could get the water of Saraswati once in the life, very rare. And from there Prithu Maharaj was ruling, and he was the one who made earth flat in many portions and produced crops. That's Prithu Maharaj. Nabhe rasa vrisabha asaso devi sunur yo ve chachar samadrik jada yoga charyam ita parama hamsa marisaya padamama nanti swasta prasanta karana parimukta sangaha. This is the translation.
The Lord appeared as a son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabi, and was known as Rishabhadeva. He performed materialistic yoga to equally balance the mind. The stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situation of liberation, wherein one is situated in oneself and is completely satisfied.
So he appeared as the son of Sudevi and Nabi, and he did yoga to balance his mind. So much so that he wouldn't move. Whatever would come on his own accord, he would eat. It's called Ajgar Vritti. And he would pass stool at the same place. But his stool was fragrant and that fragrance would go 2 miles. So that's the stool test for being God. If you are God, pass stool, let us see whether the fragrance of the stool, first of all, it should be fragrant, not foul smelling. And the fragrance would go 2 miles. That's Rishabdev. And Rishabdev is also called the originator or the original personal of among Jains. So those are Jains, they call him Bhagwan Adinath. But then imitation started. Arhat imitated, and that is how this whole Jain community came over. So rather than following his advice, which he gave to Bharat Maharaj and the other 99 sons, they started imitating it. And that is how they're not considered bona fide. So this is Rishabdev.
Yes, Prabhu, he called himself Rishabdev, right? After Rishabdev left his body in the forest fire, Ahat, he called himself Rishabdev, and then he started his own principles, and that's how Jainism started, right, Prabhuji?
See, he didn't call himself Rishabdev, but he said that I am follower of Rishabdev, or he was imitating basically. He imitated Rishabdev.
But then they worship Rishabdev, right? So they are worshipping this person as Rishabdev, the Jains.
You see, Jains worship Rishabdev as that, as far as I know, because I stayed in a place where 90% of the population was Jains. So there they would call him Adinath, Bhagwan Adinath. Adinath.
Oh, okay,
And as far as I understand, this Arhat is worshipped as Arihant among them.
But they worship Rishabdev, right? They call their god as Rishabdev, the Jains.
So they call him Adinath also.
Adinath.
See, they don't believe in God as such. So they say that your body just merges into the greater elements, and then you become Tirthankar.
Tirthankar.
So the first Tirthankar is Adinath, who is Rishabdev.
Okay.
So, and that's why they call him, you may say he's God, but they say there's no God. They don't believe in God, basically. So literally. So, but he's the first Tirthankar, that's why they celebrate him. But then it is Arihant who imitated. So that was, Jainism was more started by, you can say, Arihant. But it was more promoted by Mahavir. So Kshatriya started not imitating, after Kshatriya became Buddhists. When they became non-violent, Vaisya said that why should we pay them tax? So they took to Jainism by following Mahavir. So that's why Jains are many times are called this also. Jain means Jain Baniya. Baniya means Vaisyas. So Vaisya community, lot of people Vaisya community turn into Jains. So we're not going to religious history. The next. Satre mamasa Bhagavan hayasi sastro sakshat sayagya purusas tapiniya varnaha chando mayo makhamayo akhila devatatma vacho babhuvir usati sasato vasanastaha. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna. The Lord appeared as the Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me. That is, Brahma said, he is the personified sacrifices and the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils.
So first the description of the Lord. So there is a demon called Hayagriva. Similarly, there is an incarnation called Hayagriva, who comes in the form of Haya. Haya means horse. So he comes as a horse incarnation. So in the sacrifice performed by Brahma, his hue is golden. He's personified Vedas and the super soul of all demigods. And what are his activities? when he breathed, the sweet sound of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils. So the incarnation from whom Vedas came out. Now further incarnation of Matsya. Matsyo yogant samaye manunopalabdah Thoni mayo nikhil jeevanikaya ketah Visram sitan urubhaye salele mukhan mein Adaya tatra vijahar haveg margan. Please read the translation.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. At the end of the millennium, the would-be Vaivasvata Manu of the name Satyavrata would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities up to those in the earthly planets. Because of my fear of the vast water, at the end of the millennium, the Vedas came out of my Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas.
So Lord protects the Vedas, and also he gives the knowledge of the Vedas to the Saptarishis and Vaivasvata Muni, who were boarded in the ship. And this ship was connected to the horn on the horn of Matsya avatar using Vasuki. So that's how during inundation, Lord gives the knowledge of the Vedas to Vaivasvata Manu, who is also called Sraddhadev, and also to the Saptarishis. The Sant Gopisattu has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, in the previous verse, it is mentioned that Hayagriva was the super soul of the demigods. So why is it explicitly called out as super soul? I mean, is it just general? I mean, just to be treated as Shirodaksha Vishnu super soul, or I mean, explicitly due to some specific reason it has been called out?
He is called super soul because in the sense that demigods subsist on Vedas, and he is the one who gave the knowledge of the Vedas. So because people perform yajnas based on the Vedas, demigods subsist, and those Vedas come from Hayagriva, and that's why he is called a super soul.
Okay. Thank you.
Adi. So now Kurma avatar. Chirodadhav amardan navayut panam unmatnatam amrit labdha adi devah prishte na kachapavapur vidhara gotram nidra chano adripari vartas sanak kanduhu. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and the demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of the Lord tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation.
So Lord was experiencing a itching sensation, and when the mountain was scratching his back, he was getting free from itch. And as a sign of relief, so when there was a sigh of relief, the air moved from his nostrils, and that's how waves were formed. Waves were formed in the ocean. So this is a stone test for the Lord. Somebody says, I'm God, take a stone, scratch on his back. If he is God, he'll feel relieved. And if he is not God, he'll run away. So Kurma avatar was feeling a great relief when he was crushed by this great mountain on his back. He was the pastime of the Lord. Yes. Vishtaporu bhayaha sanirsimha rupam kitva brahmat bhakuti damshtakarala vaktram Datremyam asugadaya bhipatantam Uro nipati videdar nakhes purantam. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The personality of Godhead assumed the incarnation of Narsimha Deva in order to vanquish the great fears of the demigods. He killed the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand by placing the demon on his thighs and piercing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger and showing his fearful teeth and mouth. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So the whole pastime is given concise in one verse. He killed Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand. But Lord kept him in his thighs, pierced him with nails, while his eyebrows were rolling in anger. And he was showing his fearful teeth and mouth. Praise Lord Nrsimha. Anta saras urbale na pade grihito grahena yut patir ambuja hasta artaha ahe damadi purusa khile lokanatha tirtha Srava Sramana Mangala Nama Dheya. This is our Lord Hari.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in a river by a crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage, all are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted.
Yeah. So this is Gajendra. Who is so Gajendra Moksha? We prayed to the Lord and Lord appeared. So this is also about a continuing of Gajendra only. So Taharistam Aranathinam Prameyas Chakrayudha Patagraja Bhujadi Rudaha Chakrena Narakr Vadanam Vinipate Tasmat Dhaste Pragrahe Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel chakra. With the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk. Hare Krishna.
This is a complete pastime. Cut off the mouth of the crocodile, lifted Gajendra, and then saved it. So we don't have time. Usually this pastime is very sweet. Because Lord, when he came down, Gajendra called for him. That time Lord was playing on dice along with Mother Lakshmi. And this fellow was shouting, praying to the Lord. Mother Lakshmi knew that Lord will leave now. So Mother Lakshmi, she caught the knot of her sari, she tied along with Lord's dhoti. And then suddenly, in between, Lord jumped. And in this way, Lakshmi was also pulled along with him. So that time Lord goes to save Gajendra. So in some of the sculptures you will find Mother Lakshmi also is there behind. So Lord suddenly jumped.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. But I read like he left his dhoti also and he ran to help him like that. We heard. Is it that way, Prabhu?
I don't know. I'm telling you what I heard.
Angavastra, not dhoti, Angavastra, and he left just to help Gajendra. He ran to help Gajendra. This is the other way, right, Prabhu? He took Lakshmi, Mother Lakshmi.
Maybe there may be some other
version. Okay.
This may be another version. What I heard from Bhakti Vinod Maharaj. Okay. Bhakti Vinod Maharaj showed a photo. He went to some temple, South India temple, and he got this sculpture. So along then he was telling along with Mother Lakshmi. So Mother Lakshmi is also there in the sculpture.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Because sometimes different Sthal Puranas also have different stories. So there can be two possibilities also.
Okay, thank you so much.
Jayan Gonen Avarajo Apyadite Sutana Lokan Chakram Iman Yad Athadi Yagaha Chamam Vamanena Jagre Tripad Chalena Yaksham Rite Paticharan Prabhu Bir Nachaleha. This is the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The Lord, although transcendental to all material modes, still surpassed all the qualities of sons of Aditi known as Adityas. The Lord appeared as the youngest son of Aditi, and because he surpassed all the planets of the universe, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the pretense of asking for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land, he took away all the land from Bali Maharaj. He asked simply because, without begging, no authority can take one's rightful possession. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Especially because Bali Maharaj was personally protected by Sukracharya. And because of his Guru Bhakti, there was no possibility, there was no reason for Lord to win over Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj says, Lord says to Indra, that because he protected by Brahmanas, I cannot save him. Namo Brahman Devaya Go Brahman Hitacha. So Lord loves cows and Brahmanas like anything. That's why Lord cheats him in the form of Brahmana, and then he takes away his property. But then he gives him more than what he wanted. He becomes the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. Like no, something beyond his expectation. Anupama Radharani Mata.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This last line, he asks simply because without begging, no authority can take one's rightful possession. In Kali Yuga, we don't see this. It's by force people take away others' possessions. So,
But it is given rightful positions. Rightful positions means, so if you talk about dharmic way of taking out the money, so one Kshatriya can attack other Kshatriya rightfully if he has accumulated things in a wrong way. He can even take away his kingdom. But rightful property according to dharma can be taken away only by begging. So that Brahmana can take away, that Kshatriya cannot take away.
this is a dharmic way of taking away.
Yeah, dharmic way of taking away is beg. But begging you can get anything.
Okay, thank you.
Like Prabhupada used to say, that these fellows work so hard, accumulate property, and then devotees of the Lord just enjoy that property. So many people would complain that no, Swamiji, your disciples don't work. They simply chant, dance, and feast. Why don't they go for jobs? So Prabhupada would say, rich man's sons don't work. They are sons of Krishna, so they don't work. They simply eat, chant, and dance. So that's the different way of taking the property. Now, forcefully somebody takes away, that's like adharmic. So, dharmic way is only to accept charity. So, because we have a lot of incarnations, and so what we'll do, we just read the translation now. Because there are some important verses to be taken today. Please read.
Hare Krishna. Bali Maharaja, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything besides his promise. In spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master, the king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was of no value.
So that showed the dedication of Bali Maharaj. Actually speaking, he was a devotee, but his devotional fervor could come out only when he was put in such a trying circumstance. So when a person is put in the pressure, that time the actual internal element comes out. Like when you squeeze the lemon, then lemon juice comes out. Similarly, because he was surrounded all by these demons, all other Rakshasas. So then he got a desire to occupy the post of Indra and become victorious in all these things. But he was given that pure devotion service by Prahlad Maharaj from very childhood. And that pure devotion could get manifest only when Lord kept him in such a trying circumstance. So that's how Lord Vishnu or Vamandev, he showed the qualities of Bali Maharaj by putting him in such a trying circumstance. And later on, he gave him protection, not from just enemies by giving his chakra, but also he personally becomes the doorkeeper to save him from bad association of Rakshasas, so that he doesn't become a deluded. Because he would be always taking the darshan of Vamandev, who is a doorkeeper. So that's the actual mercy of it. So after Vamandev, Hamsa avatar. Please read the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. O Narada, you were taught about the signs of God and his transcendental loving service by the personality of Godhead in his incarnation of Hamsavatara. He was very much pleased with you due to your intense proportion of devotional service. He also explained unto you lucidly the full science of devotional service, which is especially understandable by persons who are souls surrendered unto Lord Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Thank you, Prabhu.
So he taught to Narad Muni, and he also teaches to Brahma and Chatuskumaras. So that pastime also comes in Bhagavatam. So Hamsa avatar is the one who gives transcendental knowledge. Now Manvantara avatar. Yeah, please read.
As the incarnation of Manu, the Lord became the descendant of the Manu dynasty and ruled over the miscreant kingly order, subduing them by his powerful wheel weapon. Undeterred in all circumstances, his rule was characterized by his glorious fame, which spread over the three lokas and above them to the planetary system of Satyaloka, the topmost in the universe.
So then Lord also incarnates as Manu. Manu is basically a Saktavesh avatar or empowered incarnation. So that is why protection from miscreants is always done by the emperors who are descendants of Manu. So that's done by the emperors from time to time. Now in Kali Yuga, many times people say, why doesn't Lord come? Why doesn't Lord incarnate? The reason is we don't deserve it. So we just, Lord comes as holy name to deliver in Kali Yuga, that's all. So the last descendants of solar and lunar dynasty are still there in Kalabgram along with Vyasdev, waiting for Satyuga to come. So that time people will get the fortune of being protected by the incarnation of Manu again. So till then they are there. This is the Manvantara avatars, or Manu based Manu avatars. Now Dhanvantari. Please read about Dhanvantari.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Lord, in his incarnation of Dhanvantari, very quickly cures the diseases of the ever-deceased living entities simply by his fame personified. And only because of him do the demigods achieve long lives. Thus, the personality of Godhead becomes ever glorified. He also exacted his share from the sacrifices, and it is the only who inaugurated the medical science or the knowledge of medicine in the universe.
And also he's the one who brings the pot of nectar. But amazing. He allows himself to be snatched. He allows the pot of nectar to be snatched by the demons, so that he can again come as a Mohinimurti. Next one. Please read the next one. Yes, Parasuram.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When the
When the
ruling
administrators, who are known as the Kshatriyas, turned astray from the path of the absolute truth, being desirous to suffer in hell, the Lord, in his incarnation as the sage Parashuram, uprooted those unwanted kings who appeared as the thorns of the earth. Thus he thrice 7 times uprooted the Kshatriyas with his keenly sharpened chopper. Hare Krishna.
So 3 saptaha, 3 times 7 means 21 times. So 21 times the earth was bereft of Kshatriyas. And he took their blood and he made the pools of blood in Samant Panchak. So in Kurukshetra, even today if one goes, so Kurukshetra is called Dharm Kshetra. One of the reasons is because it has Samant Panchak, the place where Parasuram made the pools of blood, the lakes of blood of Kshatriyas. And your whole land of Kerala is the land of Parasuram. Because Parasuram did a yajna and he gave the entire property to the Brahmanas. So then he has no place to live. So he threw his axe, the land came out, and that's the auspicious land of Kerala and some part of Karnataka also. But now, not much devotion service is there, but devotees are there. But all these devotees are there in the Middle East. They are not going back to Kerala. Anyway, some people are preaching. One of my counts is also preaching in Kerala. He's from that. Next.
Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his planetary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ishvaku as a lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dashratha, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful, with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished.
So he's one of the most popular incarnations of Lord Ram, who killed the 10-headed Rakshasa, Ravana. Yes. Please continue. This about Lord Ramchandra.
The personality of God. Sorry.
Continue, Prabhu.
Okay. The personality of Godhead Ramchandra, being aggrieved for his distant, intimate friend Sita, glanced over the city of enemy Ravana with red-hot eyes like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because of his family members. The aquatics like sharks, snakes, and crocodiles were being burned by the heat of the angry red eyes of the Lord.
So in this way, he made this whole Setu, Ram Setu. So that place is still there called Dhanuskoti. So Dhanuskoti, still we can see the waves are moving in different directions. The proof that Lord Ram broke the bridge here. Dhanuskoti.
Yes, Prabhu, you can read.
Hare Krishna. When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramachandra, the personality of Godhead.
So, what is laughter overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with tingling sound of the bow of Ramachandra. The famous arrow given by Agastya Rishi. So, the description is given. The front of the arrow was pervaded by Agni as well as Surya. The shaft of the arrow, the middle portion, was made of ether, nothing else. Ether means nothing, Akas. The back of the arrow was pervaded by wind god and it had feathers within it. And then he also, and it had the weight of Mount Sumeru. Nothing in between, still at the weight of Mount Sumeru. And top of that, Lord invoked Brahmastra within it. So as soon as it went on the bow of Lord Ram, immediately start illuminating all the directions. And then nobody could see anything. And directly arrow went and pierced the heart of Ravana, who started rolling like a meteor very quickly, made a loud sound, vomited blood, and fell on the ground. Radha Ramachandra ki, the famous arrow of Lord Ram. So that is how Ravana was killed. Next one. Now
Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
The world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God the Lord. Just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he is.
Krishna comes in the beautiful black hairs. Samam hiranya paradhim manamad varha dhatu praval natave samangata vinasta haste prerna dhanana arja kanot padole kapodis babjahas. Anyway, I'll not go in details. We don't have time. Beauty of Krishna. There are a lot of verses on beauty of Krishna in Bhagavatam. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. There is no doubt about Lord Krishna's being the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Putana when he was just on the lap of his mother, to overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old, or to uproot a pair of Arjuna trees so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling? All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord himself.
So Lord didn't have to do tapasya to become God. Many people do tapasya, they become God. And even Krishna was 3 months old, he was Supreme God. He killed this demon Putana. So Prabhupada has given a lecture. The title is God is God, dog is dog. Even dog, after millions of years of meditation, can never become God. Next.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
And also, when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord, in his childhood, revived them by his merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kalia snake, which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks but the Supreme Lord?
So the vapors from the lake of Kalia, when it would touch any bird would immediately die. But Krishna's body is like nectar. So that nectar counteracted the entire poison of the Kalia lake. And it became fit for drinking. And also, this pastime is very dear to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because the beginning of Madhura Rasa. By dancing on the horse of Kalia, Krishna indicated to all the gopis that I'm a good dancer. I'll dance with all of you during the Ras Leela. So this is called Purva Rasa. Purva, it's called Purva. The initial attachment of gopis for Krishna. That starts with this pastime. Next one.
Hare Krishna. On the very night of the day of chastisement of Kalia snake, when the inhabitants of Rajabhumi were sleeping carefreely, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves, and it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord along with Balrama, saved them simply by closing his eyes. Such are the superhuman activities of the Lord.
So all the Vrajavasis were crying for Krishna's help. Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga He Ramamita Vikramaha Esa Ghoratamo Vahnis Tavakandra Satihina. Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga, or greatly fortunate one Krishna. Oy Ramamita Vikramaha. And the performer of great activities, Balram. Esa Ghoratamo Vahnis Tavakandra Satihina. This entire forest fire is consuming us, please save us. And Krishna swallowed the whole forest fire as if it never existed before. So that is how God protected all the Vrajavasis. And that night was very fortunate also in the sense that all the Vrajavasis, especially the gopis, got a opportunity to see Krishna over whole night. They were all sitting in circles. Krishna was there in the center and they were getting darshan of them. Next one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. When the cowherd woman, Krishna's foster mother Yashoda, was trying to tie the hands of her son with ropes, she found the rope to be always insufficient in length. And when she finally gave up, Lord Krishna, by and by, opened his mouth, wherein the mother found all the universes situated. Seeing this, she was doubtful in her mind, but she was convinced in a different manner of the mystic nature of her son.
Visarjya Kabarasaja, Dishtra Parisamam Krishna, Kripya Sitsa Bandhan. So when Krishna saw that Mother Yashoda is working so hard, then Kripya, so then he showed his mercy by allowing himself to be bound. So she was trying to bind, but it was sought by two fingers. What are the two fingers? What they represent?
Effort and mercy.
Yes. So Jiva's effort and Lord's mercy. Sometimes we think it is the other way around. It is Lord's effort to deliver us and we will mercifully accept it. It's not like that. It is our effort and then Lord gives mercy. Next one.
Lord Krishna saved his foster father, Nanda Maharaj, from the fear of the demigod Varuna and released the cowherd boys from the caves of the mountain, for they were placed there by the son of Maya. Also to the inhabitants of Vrindavana, who were busy working during daytime and sleeping soundly at night because of their hard labor in the day, Lord Krishna awarded promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. All these acts are transcendental and certainly prove without any doubt his godhood.
So he saves Nanda Maharaj when he was taking a bath on the Dwadasi morning or Ekadasi, end of Ekadasi night. He saved the cowherd boys from Vyomasura. So that is how. And Lord took all of them back to the spiritual world after killing Dantavakra and Viduratha. So Lord did all these possibilities. He stays for 2 months in Vrindavan and then later on took all of them back. Next one.
Hare Krishna. When the cowherd men of Vrindavana, under instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Raja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitants of Raja, held up the hill known as Govardhana with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water.
So Giri Govardhan Leela, when all the Vrajavasis together got an opportunity to be with Krishna for 7 days and 7 nights continuously. Next one.
When the Lord was engaged in his pastimes of the Rasa dance in the forest of Vrindavana, enlivening the sexual desires of the wives of the inhabitants of Vrindavana by sweet and melodious songs, a demon of the name Shankachuda, a rich follower of the treasurer of heaven, Kuvera, kidnapped the damsels, and the Lord severed his head from his trunk.
That is how Lord killed him, and from his head he got Samantak jewel. And he gave the Samantak jewel to Balram. Balram gave it to Radharani. And Radharani, when expands as Satyabhama, sea along with sun planet comes with the Samantak jewel in Dwarka. So that's how he obtains it from here. The next one.
All demonic personalities like Pralamba, Dhenuka, Baka, Keshi, Arishta, Chanura, Mushtika, Kuvalayapida, elephant, Kamsa, Yavana, Narakasura, and Poundraka, great marshals like Shalva, Vivida, Monkey, and Balvala, Dantavakra, the 7 bulls, Shambhara, Viduratha, and Rukmi, as also great warriors like Kamboja, Matsya, Kuru, Srinjaya, and Kekaya, would all fight vigorously, either with the Lord Hari directly or with him under his names of Baladeva, Arjuna, Bhima, etc. And the demons, thus being killed, would attain either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So that's how all these demons were killed, and that is how Earth was free from the burden of all these demonic. So we can see here also, Krishna's pastimes are given in detail, because practically 1/3 of the Bhagavatam is dedicated just to Krishna. This shows, this is one of the proofs how Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Other people are personalities are spoken, but a lot of time is dedicated for Krishna's pastimes. Now Vyasdev, please read.
The Lord himself in his incarnation as the son of Satyavati, Vyasadev, will consider his compilation of the Vedic literature to be very difficult for the less intelligent persons with short life, and thus he will divide the tree of Vedic knowledge into different branches according to the circumstances of the particular age. Hare Krishna.
That is how Vyasdev compiles the Vedic literature into different Vedas, Puranas, Shrutis, Smritis, and everything in detail. Because Kali-yuga Vasis are too weak, they need everything analytically. So the Vedic way of understanding knowledge is that you keep on hearing, and that is how you understand. But Kali-yuga Vasis are too dull, so then they have to go in chapter by chapter. Thus, many times our devotees say, sometimes they try to find chronology within Bhagavatam. Sometimes they say, no, we want to hear only about mind. So you will not find in the scriptures, it's a chapter on mind, only mind is good. Chapter on intelligence, only intelligence is good. Chapter on ego, only ego is good. This is all required in the modern day education, because Kali-yuga Vasis are too dull. Despite that, they read it, memorize it, and forget when question paper comes in front of them. So that's a Kali-yuga memory. But for them, where they had compiled. Next one. So the Buddha.
Hare Krishna. When the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge and highlight inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles.
Now, Jiva Goswami writes, according to Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appears in a different Kali-yuga. In the duration of life of one Manu, there are more than 72 Kali-yugas. In one of them, the particular type of Buddha mentioned here would appear. Lord Buddha incarnates at a time when the people are most materialistic and preaches common sense religious principles. So in our time, he came to save the people, save the animals from being slaughtered. And in this particular Kali Yuga, he comes to save the people of different planets who were attacked by the people on Earth who are sending rockets after rockets in different planets. So it seems that these Kali Yuga people are not so advanced like the people of other Kali Yugas. So now they are launching some rockets. But in the previous Kali Yugas, they were, or the next Kali Yuga, they would be sending so many rockets that people are being harassed. Okay. So that's Buddha. Now next one, Kalki.
Hare Krishna. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exists no topics of the subject of God, even at the residences of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred into the hands of ministers elected from the lower and Sudra classes are those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at the time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. Hare Krishna.
So when Shastras don't work, Shastra works. When the words fail, that time weapons work. So then Lord will come with the weapons and just kill them. That's all. He won't be speaking Bhagavad Gita or giving different instructions. He will be killing. And these are good avatars. Please read.
At the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself Brahma and the Prajapatis, the great sages who generate. Then during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Vishnu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But the end, there is irreligion, and then Lord Shiva and the atheists full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord.
Yeah. So for creation, Brahma is there, Prajapatis like Daksha, etc. are there, great sages like even Karda Muni. So they help in generating, in procreation and increasing the population. Population is good population, not a bad population, the religious population. So they are the representation of mode of passion. For mode of goodness, there are demigods, Lord Vishnu himself, because goodness needs maintenance needs goodness rather. So demigods with controlling powers, the different kings who are the religious kings basically, not the irreligious ones, who protect the citizens, they all are in mode of goodness. Or there is a present mode of goodness. And for annihilation, Lord Shiva is there, and atheists who want to destroy the world. They all are representation of mode of ignorance. So even today we see that they are terrorists, want to terrorize everyone, kill everyone, destroy the whole world. So these are people in mode of ignorance. So these are all good avatars. Ruprani Revati Mata.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry to disturb. Prabhuji, does the purpose of the incarnation differs according to the age? Prabhu, regarding this Buddha incarnation, you were giving an explanation, Prabhu. Oh, it varies according to the age, different age.
Yeah, see.
Is it not eternal? I mean, the purpose?
Yes, the pastimes are not like that. They don't have a change. Each time Buddha comes, he comes with a different purpose. Yeah. And he has different pastimes. And that's true even for Krishna. What to say of Buddha? For Lord Ram, for Krishna, each one of them have like a different pastime, at least slightly different. Like next time when Krishna would come, so he won't go with Akrur to Mathura. He would ride on Kaliya. Another time when Krishna comes, only Krishna doesn't dance on the horse of Kaliya, even the gopis dance on the horse of Kaliya.
So there will be some change. Yeah.
There are some changes.
Okay.
Similarly, Buddha every time comes, he comes with a different purpose, different person.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Very heavy. So in this way, after explaining out Leela Avataras, now Brahmaji glorified that how it's so difficult to understand Lord Vishnu. So please read the 40th.
Who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu? Even the scientist who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so, because it is he only who, in his form of Trivikrama, moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet Satyalok up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So somebody may be able to count the number of atoms. Now most of the people can't count that. The pastime which comes of Parasar. So when Digvijay Pandit, he was going to challenge all the scholars of Sri Vaishnavism. So that time a little Parasar who was covered by 4 directions, 5-year-old, the son of what is his name? Just forgot his name. Doesn't in my mind. Quresh, son of Quresh. He was playing around there. So he comes in front of the scholar. And he said that you are a great scholar, I heard about you. He said yes. So then you tell, if you are such a great scholar, can you just tell me how many particles of sand are there in the sand which is there in my fist? Then the scholar immediately becomes humble and pays him obeisances. He says, I can't do that. So that is how, what to say of the particles of sand in the entire universe or atoms in the entire universe. Even if a person cannot tell how many particles of sand are there in the fist of one child's hand. But personalities like Lord Ananta can count them. But still, he is not able to fully speak about the pastimes of the Lord and the glories of the Lord, although he has been doing that since eternity. So that is how nobody can completely describe all the prowess of Vishnu. Lord is all omniscient. He knows about his prowess. But before he can know about it, his prowess increases. So that's why even Lord doesn't know about himself, although he's omniscient. That's about the Lord. Please read the translation.
Neither I nor all the sages born before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Sesha, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 1,000 faces. 1,000 faces, yes. Hare Krishna.
That means thousands of faces. So even he is not able to describe. Now this is like no beautiful verse. So I'll recite. Ye samsa esa bhagavan daye dananta sarvatmanasit pado yadi nirvalikam te dustaram atitaranti cha deva mayam naisa mamaham atidhi swasargala bhakshe. Anyway, it will take time to explain it fully. You can just do the translation.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Mataji, go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. Thank you.
So yes, Bhagavan Dayad Ananta. One gets the blessings of the Lord. Dayed. Sarvat manasrit pato yadi nirvilikam. And one fully surrenders to the Lord without any hesitation or without any reservation. That is the meaning of nirvilikam, or without pretension. What will happen to them? Te dustana mati taranti cha dev maya. So this dev maya or illusory energy is very difficult to cross over, but one can cross over. So it is possible by taking the center of the lotus feet of the Lord. Nesa mamaha mati dhi swasragal baksu. But those who think that this body is everything, what it means is goal of life is sense gratification. So they don't understand that body is ultimately meant to be eaten by swa, dogs, sragal, the foxes. Bakshi means to be eaten. So ultimately the body is going to get destroyed. So no use of trying to please the senses. Rather, let me please the senses of Lord Ananta, or Lord Vishnu. One who is favored by the Lord, he can cross over the ocean of essence. Others cannot. Okay. Just read 43 to 45. Translation.
Hare Krishna. O Narada, although the potencies of the Lord are unknowable and immeasurable, still, because we are all surrendered souls, we know how he acts through Yogamaya potencies. And similarly, the potencies of the Lord are also known to the all-powerful Shiva, the great king of the atheist family, namely Prahlad Maharaja, Swayambhuva Manu, his wife Shatarupa, his sons and daughters like Priyavrata, Uttanapada, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti, Prachina Barhi, Ribu, Anga, the father of Vena, Maharaja Dhruva, Ikshwaku, Aila, Muchukunda, Maharaja Janaka, Ghadi, Raghu, Ambarisha, Sagara, Gaya, Nahusha, Nahusha, Mandhata, Alarka, Shatadhanve, Anu, Rantideva, Bhishma, Bali, Amurtaraya, Dilipa, Saubhari, Utanka, Shibi, Devala, Pippalada, Saraswata, Uddhava, Parachara, Burishena, Vibhishana, Hanuman, Shukadeva Goswami, Arjuna, Arstishena, Vidura, Shrutadeva, etc.
So this is the proof that's how so many personalities, just by taking the shelter of the Lord, have crossed over. The examples are given here. That means we also have a hope. All these people could do it. And then this 46. Deve vadantyati taranti cha deva maya stri sudra hun sabara api papa jiva yadi adbhut krama parayana sile shiksha stiryak janapi kim usut dharanaye Deve vadantyati taranti cha deva maya. So all the personalities, they can overcome. They may be Stri, Sudra, Hun, Sabara, Api, Papa, Jiva. They may be of any lower caste or they may be outcast. But if they do one thing, what they do? Yadi Adbhut Karma Parayana Sila Sikshas. They systematically take the Siksha or training under devotees of the Lord who are surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Then even if they are Tiryak Jana means they may be animals and birds also. Now, Kim Usrata Dharanaye, even they can become trained into a great devotee. What to say of others? Simply by hearing from the pure devotees, surrendering to the pure devotees, getting trained by them, one can get rid of one's inauspicious birth and go back to the pure. So Prabhupada writes, mountainous and Siberians. So Prabhupada has given the purport within the translation. Siberians, people from Siberia. So I'll just quickly take 3 more verses and then we'll end. Yeah, read 47. This is the Paramatma and Bhagavan. Yes.
Hare Krishna. What is realized as the absolute Brahman is full of unlimited bliss without grief. That is certainly the ultimate phase of the supreme enjoyer, the supreme personality of Godhead. He is eternally void of all disturbances and is fearless. He is complete consciousness as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinctions. He is the principal primeval cause of all causes and effects, in whom there is no sacrifice for fruitive activities and in whom the illusory energy does not stand.
So this is basically the description of Brahma Jyoti, which is also part of the Lord. Brahma Jyoti is also non-different from the Lord. So the qualities of Brahma Jyoti are given here. It is unlimited bliss without grief. So bliss is Brahmananda, not the Ananda of Paramatma and Bhagavan. Then eternally void of all disturbance and fear. There's no fear there. It's totally conscious because it is composed of living entities. It's uncontaminated by the lower modes. No mode of goodness, passion, ignorance is there. There are no distraction. Everywhere it's Sarv Khalu Brahman. Everywhere Brahman is there, all pervaded. Primal cause of cause and effects. In the sense the universe comes from Brahma Jyoti. One cannot achieve the Brahma Jyoti by fruitive activities, Karma Kanda, nor can effect of Maya be felt. So this is how Brahma Jyoti. The quality of Brahma Jyoti is spoken in this verse. And then about Paramatma. Next one.
In such a transcendental state, there is no need of artificial control of the mind, mental speculation or meditation as performed by the jnanis and yogis. One gives up such process as the heavenly king Indra forgoes the trouble to dig a well.
Yeah. So Prabhupada gives a different meaning to it. Indra doesn't have to dig a well to get water. Similarly, devotees don't have to work hard like jnanis and yogis to realize the personality of Godhead. And Vishwanath Thakur gives a different example to this analogy. Like Indra doesn't have to dig the wells for getting pious courage to get the post of Indra. He is in charge of all the waters. So similarly, devotees don't have to work very hard to do fruitive activities, etc., to get Krishna and realize the personality of Godhead. They automatically do it by performing devotion service. So for devotees to realize Paramatma and Brahman feature, even Bhagavan feature is very easy. Now, last verse of today's.
Hare Krishna, the personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, He is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body.
So, Bhagavan is the basis for all other Brahman, Paramatma or anything. So whether it is material existence or spiritual existence, everything is awarded by the Lord Himself. Either through the agency of demigods or Lord Himself personally does it. So like air remains in the body even after annihilation. There is air called Dhananjaya, which deteriorates the body. Similarly, soul remains in the body even after annihilation of the body. And Vishwanath Thakur gives a different translation, which means that whether somebody is a jnani, yogi, worshipper of Brahman or Paramatma, they have to worship Bhagavan along with that in order to get the results. So this you must have heard in Bhagavad Gita also in your Bhakti Shastri. That no karmi, yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogi can get the results of getting Brahman unless until they practice bhakti along with that. Na yujamaneya bhakta bhagavati aklatmani sadruvasti seva santa yogi nam brahma siddhaye. One cannot get a brahma siddhi when one is karmi yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogi unless until he worships Bhagavan or with bhakti along with their own practices. They need to have support of bhakti. So this verse is also emphasizing about that. Now summary of chapter number 5 to 7 is there in the next verses, but that will take in the next class. Because already we are over time. I don't want to get the curse of devotees. We'll take within the next class. So we'll end here. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
His Grace Ananda Gaur Sundardas Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Kalpatra Vishwa.
Hare.
Swasambhava.
Prabhupada ki
Vaishnava Namo Namah. Vaishnava ki Jai.
Hare Krishna devotees. Thank you, Anand Gaur Sundar Prabhu. Again, we will meet up on Tuesday. Hare Krishna. So, thank you, devotees, for joining in. So, with all your permission.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Kalpatar Mataji.
No, Prabhu, I just wanted to ask if you could ask for the OBA answer questions, Prabhu, which we have to prepare it for the thing.
We will post in the group, Mataji.
Okay, okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.